G'day, I'm Ronnie. That's the Story, and this week we've got a story about someone that's spotty, a captain that's rather horrible. We've got someone called Stella that plays school. We've got a roast, we've got an ice cream, and we've got an accordion, all wrapped up beautifully in one show. But first of all, let's hear a story about Spotty.
I'd been walking home from school with James since we were little kids at primary school. He'd lived in the house next door to us for as long as I could remember, and our mums were good friends. But recently something had changed. James had got spots. Big, ugly spots on his chin and nose and forehead. They were an awful yellowy colour, and sometimes they were scabby as if he'd been scratching them. They looked horrible, like he hadn't washed his face for a week, and I just couldn't see how he could have let them get so bad. And ever since he'd got spots, he'd been acting real weird. He grew his hair long so that it looked like a kind of curtain hanging off his head, and he moped around looking at the floor all the time, like he was trying to be invisible or something. He didn't hang out with me, Greg and Suresh anymore, and he went out of his way to avoid girls. I couldn't see why he was acting so strange. Maybe his spots had seeped into his personality and poisoned it from the inside. A couple of weeks ago, we were all on the way into school and James dropped his bag on the main steps. Just as a joke, Greg said, "Out of my way, Spotty." It was really funny. Everyone around us was really laughing, but James just stared at Greg for what seemed like ages and pushed past him without saying a word, not even smiling. Talk about no sense of humour. We couldn't figure out what was going on. He ignored us for the rest of the day, hiding behind his curtain hair at lunchtime and sneaking a peek at us every so often, as if to say, "You're so immature." We wanted some reaction from James, so after school that day we walked 5 paces behind him all the way home, quietly chanting, "Pizza face, pizza face," which probably wasn't the best thing to do, but I thought it was funny. James just stuck his headphones further in his ears and pretended we weren't there. I imagined him at home that night, picking his spots and looking like a miserable old grump. James's mum rang later on, and I knew I was in trouble straight away by the tone of my mum's voice. She was very serious, and I waited in the lounge for my telling off. She was angry. Not the raving, arm-waving, shouting kind of angry, but the sort of scary, quiet, rational angry that my mum does best. She told me that James was upset with me for making fun of his spots. It was only a joke. He really needs to get a life. Well, said Mum, everyone gets spots eventually. Just think about that. So I did think about it, but I couldn't really see what it had to do with me. That is, not until this morning. This morning when I woke up and looked in the bathroom mirror, on my chin there was the biggest, plumpest, shiniest, ugliest zit. And it was then that I realised that now I am Spotty.
G'day, I'm Ronnie. That's the Story, and if you would like me to say g'day to you and your classroom, a little bit of a shout out to you and your mates, then head for our website, that'sthestory.co.nz. Click on Contact Us and send me a message from there. Now, Captain Horrible John. Just how horrible is this captain?
Captain Horrible John was a pirate.
Warm your ears, be prepared to walk the plank.
He was the most feared pirate in all the 7 seas.
Help! It's Captain Horrible John!
Like all good respectable pirates, he sported a patch over one eye. His left eye, he was poked in at once by a rather scary sea monster.
It was a slimy creature that measured 172 metres long and had fangs as sharp as a sword and breath so foul it would make concrete melt.
Well, that's what he told all the other pirates. In reality, he was actually prodded in the eye by a branch of an apple tree he was climbing once while pinching some poor unsuspecting orcharders' fruit.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
Captain Horrible John wore a wooden leg. His right leg. He lost his leg while fighting the dreaded 4-headed dragon of Margunia.
Roar, the four-headed Morgunian dragon. Now that was a fight to behold. I sliced it into 100 pieces and ate its flesh that night for my supper. Arr.
Well, that's what he tells all the other pirates. In reality, he actually had both legs, but just for looks, he tied one up behind his back and pretended to only have one leg, so that he looked more pirate-like.
Well, who ever heard of a pirate without a wooden leg? Arr.
Captain Horrible John, the most feared pirate of the seven seas,
Help! It's Captain Horrible
had
John!
a hook for a hand,
Well, actually, it's an old coat hanger.
a telescope,
It's actually last week's newspaper rolled up.
and a great big scary pirate ship.
Arr, the Deirdre.
Yes, a pirate ship called Deirdre.
Watch it, young man, or I'll have you walking the plank.
Now, even though Captain Horrible John, the scariest pirate in all the seven seas,
Help! It's Captain Horrible John!
yes, Captain Horrible John, even though Captain Horrible John had the scariest pirate ship in all the world, he had a little problem.
Arr, just a little one.
His ship was the fastest on the sea.
Faster than the wind.
His ship had the most guns of all the ships on the water.
Cannons the size of houses that can shoot cannonballs the size of cows.
They're just normal cannons, Captain John.
Arr, that's Horrible John to you, landlubber.
Deirdre, Captain Horrible John's pirate ship, could sail anywhere,
Arr,
the
anywhere.
roughest of seas,
Arr, the roughest of seas.
to faraway treasure islands.
Don't tell him about my treasure islands.
It was just that, well, Captain Horrible John got seasick.
Whoa! I don't feel very well.
When his ship rose over the slightest wave, sank down into the smallest of wakes, his stomach would heave and churn and bubble and squeak.
Get me a bucket first, mate.
Oi, oi, Captain!
He tried seasickness pills.
They were no help at all.
He tried air plates, acupuncture, hypnotherapy, and aromatherapy,
Not one of them worked, so I made them all walk the plank.
until his first mate found the answer.
Captain?
War, first mate Marty Man-Eater, the man-eating first mate.
I'm not really a man-eater.
It sounds good knowing the captain. Now what is it you want?
Why don't we stay anchored in port?
Arr!
And just stay here
Arr!
and be the most feared
Arr!
pirates
Arr!
of the docks?
Not the seven seas?
No, Captain. Who needs to go sailing around those seven seas anyway? Lot of bother over nothing, if you ask me.
Arr!
We could just stay here
Arr!
and rob and pillage all the other boats that come into the dock.
Arr! We'd never have to set sail again.
And so Captain Horrible John, the most feared pirate in all the seven seas, became Captain Horrible John,
Prepare to be boarded, me
the
R.E.s.
most feared pirate in the docks.
Arr!
Old Horrible John stayed anchored in docks and robbed and pillaged all the other boats that came into the docks.
Arr!
Well, that's actually not totally accurate. Captain Horrible John opened a cafe on board the pirate ship Deirdre and sold paninis and trim lattes to tourists.
But I charged them an obscene amount of money. Daylight robbery, it is daylight robbery. Arr! So, if you were to draw a picture of Captain Horrible John, what would he look like? Draw me a picture of Captain Horrible John and email it in to me. My email address is on our website. You can just go to that'sthestory.co.nz and click on Contact Us. Send me your picture in from there and I might put it up on one of our future shows. Now, where am I? Simple game. I give you some clues. From those clues, you've got to try and guess where on planet Earth I am.
Where on earth could I be? It's tricky, I think you'll agree. I'll give you a clue, perhaps even two. Oh, where on earth could I be?
Our country is bigger than China, the USA, India, Mexico, and a big part of Europe combined. We are separated from Europe by 14.3 kilometres of water. Our people on average walk 6 kilometres for fresh drinkable water. We have 100 million active Facebook users. We have 11 official languages. More people speak French in our country than they do in France. Almost a third of the world's languages are spoken in this country. We are home to the largest living land animal. We are home to the tallest living animal on Earth.
Oh, where on earth could I be?
Did you guess where it was we were talking about? Ooh, I reckon it was an easy one. Now, let's play a little bit of school, shall we?
6 out of 10, wrote Stella on the piece of lined paper in her big fat red marker pen. Could do better, she added, and drew a face with a very flat line for a mouth. Stella passed this piece of paper down to Eddie and walked on to the next anxiously waiting student. Very good, wrote Stella on the piece of paper, 9 out of 10, and she drew a very happy smiley face with her big fat red marker pen. Stella gave a little wink to her second student as she returned the spelling test. See me, Stella wrote on the third student's submission, and drew an angry face with the big fat marker pen. Stay behind after class, she said sternly to the nervous troll. You could do better, she frowned. No talking while I'm marking, Stella suddenly yelled out and quickly turned around to face the doll and the bear sitting over on the other side of the pink room. Clap, clap, went Stella's hands. It's morning tea time, everyone, she cried out and happily skipped out of her bedroom, leaving the rows of toys behind her as she made her way into the kitchen for a well-deserved glass of milk and perhaps even a biscuit or two. This teaching lark was hungry work indeed.
Who likes a Sunday roast? I like a Sunday roast. I like to follow it up with a bit of ice cream as well.
My uncle lives on a farm in the country, and I live in the city. He's my mother's brother, and one day he came to visit us in the city. I ran downstairs and through the front door to meet him. He always brings me presents. Bubble gum, a water pistol, presents that my parents don't really approve of. Today was no exception. On the back of my uncle's car, there was a trailer. And on the trailer, there was a wire cage. And in the wire cage, there was some hay. And lying on the hay, quietly sleeping, was a baby lamb. I was so excited I couldn't even speak. I opened my mouth to shout hooray, but nothing, not even a peep. Finally, I made a squealy kind of bleat that made my uncle laugh. He said we had to get the lamb off the trailer and round the back to tie her up. I think it was a she. I was never really sure. My parents were horrified. A baby lamb? No way, they spluttered. We live in the city. I couldn't stop grinning. My uncle too. Then the lamb did something really smelly. A giant poo. Mum looked totally angry. Dad had to run to the loo. Me and my uncle laughed, and I think the lamb did too. We got her around the back. I made her a little hut. It was our next door neighbour's old dog kennel. They didn't use it anymore because the dog got run over. The vet said it was best to put the dog to sleep. My uncle told me I had to feed her from a bottle with a teat because she was just a baby and it was only able to drink. So I got an empty fizzy bottle, filled it up with milk. I couldn't get the teat on though. Uncle had to do that bit. My pet lamb was dribbling and drooling. Spit was trickling from her mouth. Ugh, gross. As soon as she grabbed the teat, she was sucking hard out. She made these huffy puffy sort of noises. I could tell she was happy. My uncle had to go with his trailer on the back. He lives in the country and I live in the city with a pet lamb round the back.
I like hokey pokey, I like chocolate fudge, I like raspberry ripple. I like mellow puff, I like gold rush, in fact make mine a triple. I shout out for ice cream, I scream out for more. I shout out for maybe Brussels sprouts.
G'day, I'm Ronnie. This is That's the Story. If you would like me to say g'day to you and your mates in your classroom, head for our website, that'sthestory.co.nz. Click on Contact Us and message me from there, and you never know, I might be saying g'day to you and your classmates very, very soon. Now, let's head for Aunt Nora's farm and have a little listen to Barney on the accordion.
Barney was chewing contentedly on some grass. The birds were twittering, the sun was shining, and all was right in his world. In fact, as an accordion burst into song on the other side of the bush, he was so happy that he started to sing. "What? Stop that! Who is making that awful noise?" shouted a voice as the accordion stopped playing. Barney blinked and looked around. Awful noise? What awful noise could that be? The accordion sounded fine, and no one could want birds to stop twittering. "Who's that?" he bleated. "And what awful noise are you talking about?" A big-billed head poked through the bush, followed by the rest of Pierre the pelican. "That awful tuneless, moaning, annoying noise," he said. "My singing?" said Barney slowly. "Oh, it was not singing, my woolly friend. It was a crime against music. I thought that gnome was hopeless, but you give new meaning to bad," said Pierre, shaking his head. But I just heard your lovely accordion playing and I wanted to join in," said Barney. "My lovely accordion playing?" snorted Pierre. "Lovely? I have you know, Barney, I am the finest accordion player I know. A master." "Oh, yes, sorry, no offence," lathered Barney. "You're quite good, all right, yeah." "Quite good," sniffed Pierre. "And who, may I ask, around here would be better than me?" I'm not too bad," began Barney. Pierre burst into laughter. "A sheep," he gurgled. "A sheep who cannot even sing? What a laugh this shall be. There you go, sheep, do your best." And he handed over the accordion. Barney blushed, stammered a thank you, picked up the accordion and began to play. The noise was terrible. Shrieks, fart noises, off-key notes. Pierre winced in pain. "Stop before you deafen me, sheep. I knew all sorts of creatures in this crazy place can do weird things. A bicycle-riding fish, a skink in a submarine, flying pigs, but nowhere ever has a sheep played an accordion." And just then Barney stared at the accordion, blinked and said, "Oh, I had it upside down. Sorry, I'll try again." And this time, the accordion sounded wonderful, fantastic, better in fact than when Pierre played it. As the last note trailed off, Pierre snatched back the accordion, muttered, "Not bad for a sheep," and stormed off, saying under his breath, "Perhaps I should take up drums. No, that angry gnome probably plays drums. What else? Piano? One of those kids is probably a concert pianist. What else? What else?"
G'day, I'm Ronnie. This is That's the Story, and that is my lot for another week. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you again next week. Ka kite anō.
I wanna hear the one about the big old plum tree.